In the heart of the African wilderness, there lived a couple named Ngozi and Chiki. They were blessed with a profound love that grew stronger each day. Their lives were filled with laughter, songs, and the vibrant colors of their rich cultural heritage. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they would sit outside their small but cozy hut, sharing dreams of their future together. One golden morning, amidst the melodious calls of birds and the gentle rustling of leaves, Ngozi and Chike received the joyous news that they were to become parents. The anticipation of welcoming their first child filled their hearts with immense joy and excitement. They could hardly wait to hold their little one in their arms and shower them with all the love they had to give. However, their happiness was soon overshadowed by a dark and foreboding prophecy whispered by the village elders. The elders spoke of a child who would be born under the watchful gaze of a blood-red moon, a celestial event that was both rare and ominous. This child, they warned, was destined to bring devastation upon the land. The prophecy cast a long dark shadow over their joy, filling their hearts with a deep sense of dread. Ngozi and Chiki found themselves torn between their unconditional love for their unborn child and the terrifying possibility of the prophecy coming true. They prayed fervently, hoping against hope that their child would be spared from such a fate. As the days passed and Ngozi's belly swelled with life, the weight of the prophecy bore down on them, casting a pall over their once bright and happy days. On the night of Kwasi's birth, the sky was clear and the stars twinkled brightly. However, as the hours passed, a strange and unsettling transformation took place. The moon slowly turned a deep blood-red color, casting an eerie glow over the land. The villagers gathered outside their homes, watching in silent fear and awe as the prophecy unfolded before their eyes. When Kwasi finally entered the world, his first cry echoed through the still night air, sending shivers down the spines of all who heard it. It was a cry unlike any other, filled with an ominous tone that seemed to resonate with the very earth itself. Ngozi and Chike held their son close, their hearts filled with a mixture of overwhelming love and deep-seated fear. Despite the ominous circumstances of his birth, Kwasi was a beautiful baby with bright, curious eyes and a smile that could light up even the darkest of days. However, as he grew, it became clear that there was something unsettling about him. His bright eyes often held a cold, calculating glint, and his smile sometimes seemed more sinister than innocent. As a toddler, Kwasi exhibited troubling behaviors. Animals in the village would mysteriously disappear, only to be found later, lifeless and mutilated. Other children avoided him, sensing the darkness that lurked beneath his charming exterior. Ngozi and Chike, despite their best efforts, could not ignore the growing evidence that their son was not like other children. As Kwasi grew older, his malevolence became more pronounced. He would manipulate and torment those around him, deriving pleasure from their suffering. The once harmonious village began to fracture under the weight of fear and mistrust. Crops failed and livestock sickened, leading the villagers to believe that Kwasi's presence was a curse upon their land. Ngozi and Chike, heartbroken and desperate, sought help from the village elders and wise ones from distant lands. They performed rituals, offered sacrifices, and prayed for redemption. But nothing could alter Kwasi's dark nature. The prophecy had taken root, and its fulfillment seemed inevitable. By the time Kwasi reached adolescence, he had fully embraced his dark destiny. His powers, both physical and supernatural, grew stronger, and he used them to exert control over the village. Those who opposed him faced dire consequences, and a reign of terror descended upon the once peaceful community. Ngozi and Chiki realized that their love alone could not change the course of fate. Their son had indeed become the harbinger of devastation. As the village succumbed to chaos and despair, they could only watch helplessly, their hearts breaking for the child they had once hoped would bring light into their lives. Kwasi's malevolence grew with each passing year. His acts of evil became more calculated and widespread. Even the mighty lions of the savannah cowered in fear at Kwasi's presence, their roars silenced by the chilling stare of the boy who seemed to wield power beyond comprehension. He developed an affinity for fire, often setting ablaze the huts and crops of those who dared to cross him or speak ill of him. One particularly harrowing night, Kwasi set fire to the village granary, a building that stored the community's food supply. The flames roared through the night, consuming the precious grain and leaving the villagers to face the harsh reality of famine. One of Kwasi's most shocking acts of cruelty was the day he poisoned the village well. He had grown tired of hearing the laughter and joy of the other children playing near the water. One night, he slipped a toxin into the well. By morning, the villagers who drank from it fell violently ill. His parents watched in horror as their son's cruelty knew no bounds. They had tried everything to reach the boy they once cradled with love and hope. They consulted shamans, pleaded with the gods, and sought help from neighboring villages, but nothing could curb Kwasi's dark nature. Ngozi tried to appeal to his humanity. She would sit with him, recounting stories of his infancy and the dreams they had for him. But Kwasi's eyes would glaze over, and he would only laugh at her naivety. Chike, once a proud and strong man, was now a shell of his former self, his spirit crushed by the relentless weight of their son's evil deeds. The breaking point came one stormy night when Kwasi's malevolence reached an unprecedented level. He had set his sights on the village healer, an elderly woman named Mama Kalu, who had always treated him with kindness. Mama Kalu had once tried to exorcise the darkness from Kwasi, and though she failed, she never stopped caring for him. Kwasi, viewing her as a threat, decided to eliminate her. He concocted a sinister plan, using his supernatural abilities to summon a horde of locusts that descended upon Mama Kalu's hut. The insects devoured everything in their path, including the healer's precious herbs and remedies. Mama Kalu, caught in the frenzy, was overwhelmed and perished in the chaos. Her death sent shockwaves through the village, and the once vibrant community was now on the brink of total collapse. It was at Mama Kalu's funeral that Ngozi and Chike realized they could no longer stand by and watch their son destroy everything they held dear. The village had lost its healer, its crops, its joy, and its hope, all because of Kwasi. The couple, now fully grasping the gravity of the prophecy, knew they had to take action. With heavy hearts, they sought the guidance of the remaining village elders. The elders proposed a plan to stop him. It would require immense courage and a painful sacrifice, but it was the only way to save what little remained of their once flourishing village. Ngozi and Chike resolved to confront their son. Under the cover of night, they approached Kwasi's lair, a place where the shadows seemed to writhe and the air was thick with malevolence. As they entered, they saw Kwasi, his eyes glowing with an eerie red light, sitting on a makeshift throne made from the bones of animals he had slaughtered. "Kwasi," Ngozi began, her voice trembling but resolute, "we can no longer let you bring ruin to our home. Your darkness has consumed everything we once loved." Kwasi laughed, a cold, hollow sound that echoed through the chamber. "Do you really believe you can stop me? Mother, please, leave before I do something you'll regret." Chike stepped forward, his eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and determination. "We are your parents, and we love you, but we cannot let you continue on this path." With a deep breath, Ngozi and Chiki began the ritual taught to them by the elders, a binding spell that would trap Kwasi's malevolent spirit. As they chanted the ancient words, Kwasi's eyes widened with realization. He tried to summon his powers to stop them, but the spell took hold and his abilities were rendered useless. In a final, desperate act, Kwasi lunged at his parents, but it was too late. The binding spell enveloped him, and with a roar of anger and pain, he was sealed within a mystical prison, a containment that would hold his dark spirit for eternity. Though the village began to thrive once more, the legacy of Kwasi's actions cast a long shadow. Ngozi and Chike knew that their greatest challenge was not in the rebuilding of their home, but in living with the perpetual unease that one day, the darkness they had tried so hard to contain might escape its bonds and return to haunt them all. As we conclude this story, we are reminded that even in the most loving environments, darkness can take root. Kwasi's tale reveals the thin line between good and evil, and how prophecies, whether believed or not, can shape lives in profound ways. Despite Ngozi and Chiki's unwavering love for their son, they were forced to face a devastating truth. The child they cherished was capable of unimaginable destruction. What do you think led Kwasi down such a dark path? Was it the prophecy itself, or was there something deeper? Could you sacrifice the one you love most to protect others? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss how this story resonated with you. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories. Thank you for watching.